Call this meeting of the Agricultural Commission to order. This is the January 14th meeting of 2025. I guess we'll hop into the agenda with acceptance of the minutes.
I move we accept the December 10th meeting minutes as written.
I did actually make one slight adjustment to them after I sent them out this afternoon.
Okay.
Because when we were having the discussion over the bat house, and we couldn't remember what year it was in, and I had put it, the one I sent to you guys had 2024 in it, and I realized that's what we're trying to approve is the 2024 one or whatever, so I put 2023
Okay.
just to make it make sense.
Okay, then I move we accept the December 10th minutes with the correction.
As corrected.
As corrected.
That's correct.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you.
We have a motion to accept the December, what was the date? 10th,
10th.
2024 minutes. Any need to discuss the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask everyone to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the treasurer's report.
So, the only real activity this month was, I finally did get the, not finally, but I got the November and December, we were missing November National Grid last month. I got it when Amy got back from vacation, along with December. And then tonight, as I was fishing out with my hands, the January one was in the box, so.
Oh, good.
So now, if I add the January one, 1585, we now have, in the budget, we have $687.12, and the donation account has $4,608.33. I'm sorry, 37 cents. So a total of $5,295.49.
The National Grid bill pretty similar.
Oh,
Last
I can talk about those. So November was $14.40, December was $16.14, and January is $15.85.
And you wonder what's going on down there. Really?
I know.
Because we're not using the thing to charge the batteries. The well's off.
There's no pump. Well, yeah, the well's off.
The well's turned off. The timer's off. That electricity is off. I mean, I guess it's just the camera.
The cameras, I guess.
It's just, the one camera.
Well,
Working super hard not to
I
freeze.
notice, and I haven't investigated this yet, but a couple of people that I was talking to in town were saying that they noticed, A, the property tax bills went way up, and then B, their National Grid bills went way up.
I did see that. And I just got my National Grid. It's not National Grid. The one I have is
Okay.
the town one, and it didn't.
Okay.
So I was glad for that.
So I don't know if, you know what, I don't know if these people that I were talking to had National Grid or who they had, but they said their electric bill had gone way up. And I noticed mine was really high. So maybe.
Would what we have not be on the town electrical?
It comes
Program?
as National Grid.
Wonder if we should switch it over to the town service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely says National Grid. I don't have the copy of the actual bill, but sometimes she puts it on there and it's National Grid letterhead.
Okay.
That'd be something to look into.
Can we do that?
I think you can. I know I have the card that we got about the it was changing, I think we changed from one provider to a different
Okay.
provider, but it wasn't National Grid, and it had the, I mean,
Hmm.
it's probably not gonna save a bunch of money, but it'll save a little money. Yeah, I never thought about that one.
I just assumed that's what we had available, because it was the town, going through the town already, so.
I'll take a look at if I can find that, or I don't know
Yeah.
if there's people you can talk to in the,
Can ask, I don't know, is it Energy Committee?
Oh, I won't see Sue this Friday.
I can pester Tim,
Oh, is he on that too?
Tim Wysocki,
Oh, that
Yeah,
Tim,
yeah.
okay,
the other Tim.
the other Tim.
Anything else in regard to the treasurer's report? We get a motion to accept it.
okay, I'll move that we
You want a
accept
motion?
the treasurer's report.
Second. Alright, we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report. Any need to discuss the motion? Alright, hearing none, I'll ask everyone to vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the community garden report.
Okay, so did a walkthrough today because I set a mouse trap. I've already started to clean out the shed. I pulled a bunch of stuff out that could be left outside and put it in the raised beds while I took everything out. I'm just waiting for some warmer weather to go back and start taking the shelves out. But I have all the stuff in my house right now all cleared and gone through and got rid of a bunch of crap and mouse nests and stuff. So I finally went down today when I was doing some errands and I put a mouse trap in to see if I can bag some, which I did last winter too. I was able to get a few. So I did that, and as soon as that's all set, I'll get the new shelving, and it's riding around in the car. So I don't have anywhere to put it in my house. So that's the only thing that fits in the report. There's some other stuff when we get to, if you want me to go through it, to the old business stuff.
Yeah, we can jump into it now if you want, or we can wait.
Yeah, let's follow the order.
Carrying on with the agenda. Any fun and exciting correspondence?
Just the National Grid bills that I already talked about.
That was easy.
Yeah.
Any emails?
No, just newsletters.
Excellent. Alright. Moving on then to the annual report.
Oh, I was
Which
gonna look
gave
for
you-
Yeah, let's
how many,
Yeah,
how
can I
many
take a minute?
plots we had last year. I fixed
Yeah,
my-
we had that in the report last year, so I can just pull it from that. It was like
Yeah.
38.
$36. That should be more than that. If we have 36, oh, it should be more than 36. I can't count. 12. Why is it coming out that way? Oh, because that's how I numbered them. Jeez. 36.
36? Alright.
Yeah, cause there's actually 30 20 by 20s. That's
Yeah.
where I was like, why am I coming out with 36 when I know there's more? Yeah, so there's 30 20 by 20s, but last year they were divided up into 36 plots.
Excellent. So I can include that in,
4 unused plots in the next
Four.
paragraph.
alright, yeah, that was the, I didn't include the number of gardeners,
Oh, and I think I took that.
which, I have that from, I have that information.
Oh, okay.
But I can add that if we want.
I think that with the, I mean, you can if you want. I think we had that anyway in the minutes, the number of gardeners, right? Cause
Yeah,
it
I mean, it's
mentioned how
probably
many were
relevant.
from out of town. Why do I know I've seen that?
35 families participated, 15 from out of town.
Yeah.
Okay. I knew I had seen it somewhere.
In the minutes that came out today. That's why it's sort of fresh.
Yeah, so I can add that information as
And-
well if you'd like.
And maybe call them from neighboring communities. I feel like when you say out of town, it's kind of a,
That's a good point.
You're
Coming
from-
in from the West Coast.
Migrants.
because
Yeah.
we do welcome them, and they're not like, I mean, they are out of town, but I don't know, it's just the.
Yeah, but it's, they are all from down the road. So yeah, I can add that information into the first paragraph, if that makes sense.
What were the enhancements to the community garden fencing you're referring to?
I pulled that from the minutes, and so I think it was actually some stuff that some of the gardeners worked on some of the gates a little bit or something like that. Was
Oh,
that-
yeah, the man who helps us with a lot of the projects,
I thought that had to do with straightening out some of the posts that had leaned in
Yeah,
or
that was
something.
Yeah,
kind
and
of like
fix,
a
fix some of the posts and stuff like that,
Okay.
so. I figured it was kind of it covered
fancier word.
all of the tinkering we did with
Okay. All right.
pushing and pulling and prodding. I can remove that or reword it or whatever people think
No, I
makes sense.
just wanted to know what it was referring to.
Yeah. Originally, it was written as did some stuff to the community.
Did some stuff.
The idea being that I'd find a better way of phrasing that, but.
The Girl Scout, also, she donated a bench.
Oh, that's right.
Would it make sense to
And
give
it
her
was-
name or no?
And it was for her gold award. Probably not, cause she's probably under 18.
Okay.
Yeah, I think historically we've always refrained from naming anybody
Unless it was a business or
in
something.
this list.
Yeah.
Which I I don't think we have a policy around, it's just
Yeah.
what we've always done, so we can depart from that at any point if people want to.
Did we miss anything?
That was the big question.
I'd say it's gonna take up a whole page in the the town report.
Yeah, if we find too many more people to thank, we'll be in trouble for taking up too many pages. We have a lot of helpers.
That's what makes it work.
Well, that's kind of the whole point of the community garden is community.
Yes.
I believe we have until the 31st of the month to submit this, and so I can make any changes from tonight,
Okay.
send a final draft around to anybody, and if anybody thinks of anything or spots any issues or something like that, then we can modify it further.
Okay.
But 36 total plots, 4 unused plots that were used for donations to the local food pantries. Add the statistics on the number of gardeners to the first paragraph. Mention the bench that was also donated.
It was part of her gold award.
Yeah. Is there anything else that anyone can think of?
Not really.
Excellent. Do we want to vote on accepting it with the changes mentioned?
I move that we accept it with the changes mentioned.
I'll second it. We have a motion to accept the annual report with the changes that we discussed this evening. Is there any need to discuss the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask everyone to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. Alright, AgCom vacancy
Still vacant.
remains vacant. We can pass over that unless anybody has anything to discuss in relation to it.
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I do
Is it-
wonder if we should think about someone else because we're not even sure that Steve is gonna
Yeah, it seems
be
like
able
we could give it,
to, but
we can see if he has a sense of what his schedule is like now
Mm.
that things might be settling a little bit for him, and then go from there. Yeah, there's some other folks that we can reach out to. So I'll see if I can find out. I saw him over the holidays. He stopped by the farm, but
oh, I still don't know who he is. So.
I don't either.
so we'll skip that for now. Funding for financial assistance at the community garden.
I did get to see Kristen,
Yeah.
and she said that it could be done on a reimbursement basis, kind of like what we it's something that we wanna continue to do from the donation account. I mean, that's probably down the way
Yeah.
a bit now, but, if it is agreeable, then I'll talk to Mary McKelk about it. I haven't called her yet because I wanted to make sure that it was
Yeah.
a viable option, and I don't mind putting the money out to make this work.
Okay. So I guess the question is it, are we doing, like, how are we screening it? And, or Mary would be, the food pantry would be screening
Right,
it.
yeah, and so
Okay.
it would
Do
be.
we have a sense of how many people it would be, or would it only be allowed for one and she would pick or whatever? We haven't gotten that far.
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of like to start with one person.
Yeah, exactly.
And not a bunch of people.
Well, that's why I'm,
Yeah,
like,
because I wanna
before we
make
determine an amount, let's make sure that
yeah, and have somebody who's gonna come
everybody's
actually
not gonna sign up for it.
do what they're supposed to
Right.
do with the garden. that
Right.
It's,
Yeah, set it up as a trial initially.
yeah. And see
Make
how
sure
it
it makes
works,
sense.
and if it works well, then
Yeah.
we could expand it.
Mhm.
And then the other is
Yeah.
the low-income people at Riverbridge, and I don't know how to identify that group.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably something that if you wanted to orient it towards affordable housing units, you'd make it townwide. And not just target Riverbridge.
So where else is the affordable housing besides senior?
Any of the big developments have affordable units in them.
Okay.
For the most part,
Wilson Road has 3,
yeah.
I think, 3 or 4.
And I think there may be some units outside of that, but I think it probably makes sense. I like the idea of tying in with the food pantry.
Yeah.
Just because we already have that relationship with them to some extent.
Okay.
That might be an easy place to start because Mary will have a list. I'm not sure how easy it is to get an accurate list of everyone else.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'd like to start at a.
Well, and there's that food connection just with the food pantry in general, so it kind of ties in thematically with that project.
Okay, then I will call Mary and talk to her about how we can facilitate it.
Yeah.
And if there is somebody, I mean, if she starts talking about it now to people, then,
Mm-hmm.
you know, she should be able to hopefully find somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose one thing that we could do too is instead of bankrolling their involvement entirely is supplement it. And so if you wanted to try to support multiple people on multiple plots, you don't necessarily, it might be something where we decide that we don't want to fund their involvement with the garden completely, do 50-50 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it makes it more affordable, but
I'm not totally following it, so just.
well, what are we aiming to provide?
The plot, we can just
Give to them.
there.
Yeah.
So no
Just
they would
waive
not
that.
have to make a donation to the plot.
Yeah.
I would expect it would be a small plot,
Mm-hmm.
no 20 by 20, I wouldn't start there, I would start
Yeah.
with one of the smaller 10 by 10s. And then for money for seeds and some plants.
Mm-hmm.
But are we looking to provide all of their seeds and plants, or?
Well, I guess that's something we have to
Yeah,
figure out, what would be a reasonable amount.
because I think if I understand what you were saying
Yeah.
is, and I think we're jumping ahead a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but eventually if we wanted to provide it for more than one person, maybe we don't do all of their seeds and plants, we give them a stipend, and then if they wanna buy more, they can, but at least it helps.
Yep, some money towards it,
And do it to more than one person.
yeah. And we already
Yeah.
have in place at the garden, when people are planting, whatever's left over,
Yeah,
they put it out on the table for people to use. So there's always extra stuff
Mhm.
there that people
Mhm.
can use.
Yeah, and do we have a sense of how much people? I mean, imagine if we tried to average what people were spending annually just on plants, materials, fertilizer, stakes,
yeah, it
trellising,
just
all that
depends
is going to be all
on-
over the map. But,
Yeah,
it-
it
it's
depends
gonna
on what
depend
people
on,
do. Some,
where they bought it, what they bought.
Yeah. What they're trying to grow,
What- yeah.
yeah,
how successful,
How
it
successful
goes.
they are as gardeners.
How many times you have to replant it?
How
Yeah,
well
I
they,
don't-
how often they show up to water.
how well they take care of it.
Exactly.
That's why we start with a 10 by 10.
So that might be something just to get a vague estimate of like what sort of funding would actually be necessary in order to support different. I don't know what you would say.
No, I
Yeah.
like the word stipend, that they would get a certain amount towards
Mhm.
what they would need, but I hadn't even thought about the fact that, they might want stakes, they might want tomato cages. We do have some stuff that people have left over the years
Mhm.
that could be made available, but still, there's no guarantee
Yeah.
that you're gonna get a tomato cage if you want it, or stakes, or,
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, we could try to price out sort of at least what like seeds and plants might cost to fill a 10 by 10, and come up with a number based on that. That makes sense in terms of trying to help support. Wondering if that's a good way to come at it.
yeah, 'cause
Um,
I have no idea, I don't buy plants.
Yeah. Well, and maybe someone. I sort of do, but
Yeah, I know. I know.
Differently. Well, like at the farm, we always end up having some stuff left over and things like that too, which I think that, I mean, definitely if it's something that we were going to toss, we'd be happy to donate towards something like this, but so that might mitigate some as well.
Okay, yeah, and that would be later in the season, so.
That's the problem, is usually by the time that we're getting rid of anything.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a reason we're getting rid of it.
Mhm.
But I mean, for some of that, like lettuce and things like that, we're starting all season long, so. But yeah, it seems like. I don't know, do we have anything to vote on at this point, or just carry on exploring options and?
Maybe a conversation with Mary first and
Yeah.
see if she has any thoughts on,
Who and how it
Amount.
might work and.
an amount of money, and is this something that, maybe it would work, maybe she'll say no.
Mm.
Mhm.
It may be, someone who wouldn't be able to garden.
Right.
And I
Mhm.
couldn't
Right.
guarantee, somebody who couldn't garden, I couldn't guarantee them a raised bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might want to do it if they had
Mhm.
a raised bed, but I can't guarantee that. So I'm looking more, usually the plots,
Mm-hmm.
are,
And that seems like that's what we usually have a surplus of. Is,
yes.
Yeah.
So it would be an actual plot, so you'd have to have somebody who was physically able. And I don't,
So I'm just
Yeah.
I'm in my head going through all the places that there is like 40B in town. And like all of the newer ones that are clustered had to be 40B. So Riverbridge but the other one that has quite a few of them is the Echo Village,
Mm-hmm.
Sora Hill.
oh, really?
And I'm unclear as to, I know they had to have 25% when they first built it, or whatever the percentage was.
10 probably or something.
But I'm unclear as those units have sold and transferred, if they've still stayed in 40B and, but I know.
Yeah, I know some of the units in town have transitioned to market rate. I don't know about any specific
Yeah,
properties though, and which ones might have. I used to. I forgot.
that's okay.
Um,
Yeah, and there's probably 40B up on Wheeler Hill in the
mhm.
the
Yep.
condos up there. I don't know where else, but
Yeah, I can.
I would think
I can
that
dig into
Mary
that.
might be tapped into that a little bit too.
And I can get a list from. There's a few folks I can ask
Okay.
who will know, but I can track that down.
Okay.
I'm also thinking if she says she doesn't want to, go with it, and we still wanted to try, because she deals with probably more elderly, but some of these other places have younger people living there
Okay.
Mhm.
that may be able to do the 10 by 10. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah, and the main thing is finding folks who qualify and would be interested. So.
Right.
Okay, so I will call Mary. See if she has any ideas.
Yeah, because the main thing is establish a criteria and figure out how much funding we can allocate. You can also look and see what grants are out there for stuff like that. I don't know.
Mm.
Anything else on that before? We move on.
Just call Mary.
Yeah, if you want to talk to Mary, I can look into the 40B question. And, I can see if anyone knows about other funding options for that too. Moving on to the rototiller.
Still there.
The only thing, I just threw that on there because it was.
Is it still there?
on
But yeah, we really need to get something done with it in the next couple months.
Yeah.
So that it's ready for,
Yeah, Kenny's been out and about lately, so I haven't had a chance to corner him, but I think he was in the other day, so. I know he's floating around again,
yeah.
so I can see if he has any thoughts, but. We can just we'll tie a screwdriver.
Yeah, for every single time you wanna turn it, yeah.
Just donate, I can donate a crowbar to the. No, it seems like there should be a way to overcome that.
Some kind of adjustment that has to be made, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, we have some time to play with that. Now's the time. to explore
just-
What were we
some
just
time.
saying? Now's supposed to be the slow
Yeah,
time?
now's the time where we're not supposed to be doing anything, right?
I mean, they don't
Yeah.
even have, they're not even repairing snow blowers right now, right?
Yeah.
At those places.
Yeah, they must be bored out of their mind right now. Maybe not. I think think Boston Lawnmower moved
They
right,
did,
right around
but-
the corner, so
right.
you don't have to get out onto Route 9 anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
really?
Yeah.
I haven't been down there in a while. Wow.
Yeah, they moved,
Yeah.
it's into where that, plaza
Yeah, you,
is,
you
right?
take a left before you get to Route 9 if you're kind of going through Northborough and, what is it, 31, 35?
135.
135, yeah.
I think you can just turn left at those lights before you would turn right. You would turn right to go down to the plaza, straight to get to Route 9, and then I think if you take a left there, it might bring you up over to it.
I don't think you go left at the lights, I think you go,
Like the plaza where
Right.
the Outback used to be, that
yeah,
one?
I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
where
you
they,
take a right
yeah,
at
you
those
take a
lights.
right.
I
If
don't
you take
think,
a
I don't
left,
think
you
they're
go.
down in that plaza though.
Oh,
I think
alright.
they're somewhere else.
They said they were like going like very close nearby, or
Yeah,
maybe it
it's-
was maybe, isn't there an old,
I think there's some industrial stuff up
there's an
behind.
old car dealership that's empty up there, did they go into that?
Well, they were a car dealership before they were Boston
Yeah.
Lawnmower. It was the Volkswagen dealership.
Okay, so then
Yeah.
that was.
That'd be funny if
No,
they
they said
took
they
over
were
another
just
one.
going.
Yeah, it's just right
just
around the
right
corner.
there.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's not very far.
I haven't been down there for a
So,
while.
yeah, because John went over to bring the chainsaw over, I think, and said they're not where they used to be. but it didn't take me very long to find them, so they're
Okay.
right there. But yeah, because he said they moved, and I was thinking, oh no.
All right, well, if you don't get a chance to talk to Kenny,
You can bring it back over there.
we're gonna have to bring it back over there.
Yeah.
Because it has to get done.
Yeah, yeah, we'll need that.
It's a beautiful machine and it is being totally wasted
Mm.
by,
Yeah.
that thing is, when it was working initially, the thing just goes right down into the soil, it's awesome.
Yeah, I kind of want one for the high tunnel.
You could borrow it probably.
Yeah, trying to drive the tractor into that tunnel isn't very fun. Website update is on my to-do list. I was going to do that in conjunction with the census stuff and then getting the new rules and regs up.
Okay, yeah, I saw that you had taken
or-
the others down and that's perfect
Yep.
because I've already gotten another phone call. So, and I just tell them it'll be up. When does the census go out, James?
It should be very soon. We got pushed back a little bit because we're putting stuff to bed in relation to the special town meeting, but so that slowed us down a little. But that's all done now, so the census is next on the to-do list, so that should, I would think we,
Okay. Yeah, because it's usually the middle of January when it goes out.
yeah, it's pretty much compiled. Just have to make sure that we didn't forget anything and then send it over to get printed, so it should be sent to the printer either later this week or early next week.
All right,
And then
warm up the phone.
they just mail it out for us. It's great. Yeah, I'll let you know. You'll know either way, but
Yeah, I don't usually answer the phone anyway till if I don't recognize it.
yeah. Yeah, so I'll get that, I mean, I can put that new information up there now, I would think. The new rules and regs, and
No,
you don't want it not until the census goes out?
I don't want it until the census goes.
Yeah. I'll drag my feet. Moving on to new business, beekeeping,
So
which
you
is
saw
also
my-
old business.
Yeah, so you saw my email, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I did call Carl. We didn't tell you this,
No,
Laura.
I don't,
So
I saw
I
this
guess
on
we
the agenda
better-
and I was like, oh, this is coming up again?
One of the
Yeah.
gardeners had beekeeping stuff, and they moved out of their home into an apartment, and it's been in storage. And she asked if it could be brought to the community garden. And I said I would check, because the last time I remember there being a reason, town council was
Yeah.
gave the advice, or, you know, they were asked for advice on it, and apparently the situation was because it's leased land.
Right.
Seems like, yeah, liability was unclear.
Yeah.
maybe.
So that was, I don't know, 10 years ago, it was
Yeah.
a while ago. So I don't know, you know, it would be nice to have the bees.
Mhm.
But Carl also made a good point and said, you know, we have bears down there.
Mm.
And he has had to put an electric fence up
Yeah.
for his bees. So
Yeah.
that may be something we want to consider, that we really wouldn't want to attract
Mhm.
the bears. People are down
Yeah.
there at dusk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd hate to see the bear do any damage to the fencing.
Yeah, I mean, it would be outside the fence area, but
Yeah.
Yeah. It.
I mean, I'm just looking at the damage in my neighborhood from that bear, or whichever bear was down there, and it's tricky.
They're very enthusiastic.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
yeah, so
Yeah, there was someone keeping bees on the farm for a while. We kept some too, but and a bear got to those hives as well. So, and I know some other people in town who have had to put up electric fencing to.
yeah, and I don't want to
deter
write
the
another
bears, so.
grant to get electric fencing.
Well, the bear went through my electric fencing.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, we think he was running, you know, in the dark, and just like he took out the whole corner of our fence, and it was electric. He didn't do any other than property damage. He didn't do any, like, he wasn't going for anything. But fence is supposed to be like this, and we came into the driveway, and it was like this, and there were bear prints. It was like, oh
Jeez.
boy.
So I guess, you know, thinking that through, and the safety issue of it,
Yeah.
and the people who are down there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big question is the situation in terms of like liability insurance and stuff like that probably hasn't changed since town council gave an opinion. So I think that was kind of the major consideration last time.
I think you're
Was
right.
my recollection was we kind of said it didn't seem like it was something that we necessarily had coverage for.
What about doing
Um,
like mason bees?
I don't know what that is.
They're solitary bees that don't produce honey but pollinate. And they
how-
don't really sting or anything because
And what do you do? Like, where do they live? What do you?
they're probably down there anyway because they live
Oh, we have a ton of bees down there.
naturally.
Yeah, naturally. With
Um,
the flowers, and we.
But you can put little houses out for them, and like you put mud. They're called mason bees because they pack their cocoons with mud.
Oh,
And then there's also like a leaf cutter, which packs with leaves. And, you know, there's a little bit of maintenance involved with it, but there's no honey involved, so it probably wouldn't attract bears.
mm.
'Cause the bears are going for the honey. I don't know.
Yeah,
Something to
it-
think about.
think of that.
The gardener with the beekeeping paraphernalia was looking to keep the bees or just looking for a place to set up?
Probably to keep,
This-
you know,
yeah.
to set it
They're-
up and
they're gonna
have
be-
it so that there'd be,
They'd be present and involved.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we can also see if some of the farms in town have any interest in hosting that. If they were looking for a place to do that. Cause like we've let people keep bees on the property before, and it skirts the whole issue of what happens on leased land and so on and so forth. In terms of them specifically, if they're looking for a place to
So,
set up shop for a little bit.
so you saying that I could have her check with you.
Yeah.
To s- so if I would give her your town email or you.
Either or, yeah. It's,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll have her,
Can forward it over.
and then you could go from there, okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell her, all right. They're lovely, lovely people.
Yeah.
They have been very helpful in the garden this year.
Mm. Yeah, and that may be an easier way to kind of field anybody who's interested in beekeeping down there is, say, instead of doing it at the community garden where it becomes a little bit more complicated, there's a lot of other parcels in town where people would likely be very accepting of having some beehives set up.
Okay.
Because that's usually a mutual relationship that is quite helpful, so
Okay.
it means we don't have to keep the hives.
All right, yeah, because she had said this is the time of year they have to order the bees if
Yeah.
they're gonna get the hives going again.
Mm.
So I will give
Yeah,
her your
send that over. Yeah, you can.
point of contact, and then you can go from there.
Yeah,
All right.
that sounds good.
Her name is Jeanette. Janelle, wait a minute. Jeanette. Oh, this is terrible. I have a student that's
The
Jeanette or
other.
Janelle. Gardner, who's Jeanette or Janelle, so I always get them confused. Jeanette. I can't remember. That's terrible.
You'd,
I think it's
you
Jeanette.
can let me know once you have it in front of you. No, it sounds good.
Okay.
That concludes the agenda.
Motion to adjourn?
I seconded.
We have a motion to adjourn.
That was a long meeting.
I know.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.